Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Lynette Pennington, and I want to welcome you to today's session, Candid Conversation with our County Contractor, uh, Rachel Ray Cannon. She's the CEO of RL Canning. She's a successful IT and business process outsourcing firm for more than over 25 years. Rachel has built her company through certification, strong partnership, and a commitment to excellence. Today's conversation is designed especially for
Lynette, I think you're muted. There we go.
Okay, thank you. Sorry about that, everyone. And I'm just welcoming everyone, but no worries. Thank you, Rachel. Good
Thank
afternoon again, everyone. My name is Lynette Pennington, and I want to welcome you to today's session, Candid Conversation with County Contractor CEO Rachel Ray Canny. Our
you.
guest is Rachel Ray. She's the CEO, as I mentioned, of a very successful IT business process outsourcing firm. For more than 25 years, Rachel has built her company through certification, strong partnerships, and commitment to excellence. Today's conversation is designed especially for MBEs, WBEs, and other small business owners who want to learn how to grow their business through subcontracting and government contracts. We are going to engage in about 45-minute guided conversation covering Rachel's journey, her strategies, the lessons she learned, and we're going to give you an opportunity for Q&A. But before we dive in, I want to let you know your cameras and your mics have been disabled, but please put your comments, your questions in the chat, and feel free to network with other attendees by telling us your company name and giving us a little bit about your company. With no more further ado, I'd like to introduce Rachel. Take it away. Hi, Rachel.
Hello, Lynette. Thank you so much. It's such an honor to be here today, and I'm so excited to hopefully impact at least one person on this call because, starting a business is not for the faint of heart, and it's never about an individual, but it's absolutely about the people you surround yourself with. So thank you so much for giving me this opportunity to share my journey and, take it away.
All right. Well, Rachel, I'd like to know what inspired you to be an entrepreneur and to do business contracts with private as well as government companies.
hmm Yeah, I mean, I've right out of college, I actually, went to the University of Illinois at Chicago, and I got my degree in marketing. And right out of school, I went into being a hunter of business. So I was in business development as a career, worked for a number of different organizations, had the opportunity of working for a privately owned business and coincidentally surrounding myself with a lot of different entrepreneurs, and they really inspired me to evaluate this journey for myself. As you know, as you mentioned, my company name is RL Canning. So RL is myself, Rachel LeBron, and then my business partner as well as my life partner is Greg Canning. So he and I started this journey. It's crazy, 25 years ago. So we decided to take a leap of faith, and I'm humbled, incredibly humbled to be here 25 years later as a thriving organization.
Well, that leads me to ask you because I know that you have actually been contract business with Cook County for over 18 years, almost 20 years. And I'd like to know, what impact has that had on your growth as a business owner, actually being a county contractor as a WMBE for over 20 years?
Correct. Yes. So our opportunities have been with the Cook County CCH, Cook County Health and Hospital Systems, and I've had the honor of working with them since 2006. And we are certified as a woman-owned, Hispanic-owned business. And initially, when we started back in 2006 with the Health and Hospital Systems, Lynette, we were given the opportunity to provide some resources as a strategic partner to Atos. But at the time, those of you that are not familiar, but Atos, initially in 2006, it was ACS, and then Xerox purchased them, and then it was Evident, and then it was Atos. And so today, all these years later, we started off with 3 different consultants on the engagements. And through our relationships and building relationships with the CIO and providing quality resources, we were able to expand and grow within the account. And the Cook County certification was definitely a huge value, because when you're just first starting a business and no one is familiar with who is R.L. Canning, we have this expression that's often heard that no one gets fired by hiring IBM, but sometimes people are find themselves in a pickle when they hire a company that no one has heard of. So being a strategic partner to Atos, they have been huge advocates of us and our success and growth that, quite frankly, we've earned through having incredible people being part of the team.
So I like the fact that you brought out even a lot of your success because you are a certified WMBE and Cook County has already vetted you. It can be a door opener for other companies, whether private or governmental companies, when they see that you have actually successfully done business with the county, it can cause you to get recognition or cause, and things of that nature, which brings to mind, I would like to ask you this. What have been your biggest challenges that you faced as a woman-owned business, a minority business, and how did you conquer those challenges in this market, in the IT market, being that not only are you woman, but minority?
Mm-hmm. Well, I'd love to say that in the early years, today, in 2025 and 25 years later in business, I don't believe that, I feel proud of the fact that, again, being surrounded by incredible people. And I want to give a shout out to folks like Kristen Castelloni, Darnell Marsh, Ricky Chung, so many folks that have been Christian Story that have been part of the R.L. Canning family for many, many, many years. So if I'm going to be transparent today, I don't really lead with that because we have some more sophistication after all of these years of experience. In the early years when it was just myself and my business partner, the certification played a significant role. It opened up doors for me at the Chicago Public Schools, at the state of Illinois, obviously Health and Hospital Systems, all these clients that we are currently working with today. And it was of value because there is that contract compliance component that these folks need to support and really nurture small business. And they did that. And I think that my strength was in working with the Deloittes of the world, Accentures and IBMs and Atos, and having these partnerships. I use that as a small wedge, like, hey, I know that you have to be in compliant for this contract, but I want you to also know that I want you to work with our organization because we have great people. We're not perfect. We have great people that really, really care. And I think that's evident in the folks that we have. And I'm referencing the county because this is what we're kind of talking about. But the teams that we have there, we have folks that have been there for 15 years, for 13 years. The longevity in my team has been outstanding. And I take a lot of pride in that. And, but I definitely have to say in the early years, back when we incorporated in 1999, 2000, that's the way I leveraged my certification in order to grow my business. I hope that
And
answers your question.
yes, I really like the fact that you mentioned the compliant part because that's something that prime contractors, some of them have to reach that goal. And so, how did you continue to be a consistent subcontractor? How did you continue to have that role? And what would you say cause prime contractors to be attracted to you? How did you successfully continue to meet the prime contractors and gain their trust and
Mhm.
fulfill their contract goals, that compliant portion? What would you tell our listening audience who may be certified, but
Mhm.
yet have not successfully or do how can they best navigate and move their certification to subcontracting? I know I said a whole lot, but if you could just tell me what attracts that prime to you and how can our subcontractors navigate their journey to become successful subcontractors?
Great question, Lynette. Great question. When I think about when I first started my business is whatever your core competencies are going to be. And again, I definitely do believe as a woman, as a Latina, that these programs are designed to have us thrive, right? But we have to also be subject matter experts in our space. And so I would like to encourage anyone that's trying to start a business, and you're not going to know everything about everything. And you have to surround yourself with individuals that can support you when you're weak. So as business partners, Greg Canning and myself, we both complement each other in different areas. We have service delivery leaders within our organization that bring certain expertise to the table. And I think that when I would engage in conversation with the primes, to answer your question, I would focus on what we do and what we do well. And I would never try to oversell our business in spaces that we did not excel. And I was authentic with that. And quite honestly, if I'm going to be very transparent in regards to the hospital and how we really grew there, our area of expertise is not providing clinical application analysts per se. We are an IT managed services organization that really focuses on workplace support and everything has evolved. But initially when we had started our organization, we were challenged with, hey, could you help us identify talent in revenue cycle or other spaces? And I'm telling you, Lynette, you got to be able to run through a wall, and people feel that energy, don't they? Like all of us can be, really honest and say, like, you can feel when somebody wants to really work hard for you, and you can't lead with, oh my gosh, I'm a woman and I'm Hispanic and you have a obligation to do business with me. That was really my approach. My approach was like, oh my gosh, I'm really grateful for this opportunity. You're not going to regret hiring R.L. Canning as a strategic partner, and again, this is not just about Rachel Canning. I have a SWAT team of people that I call them my family, so that I love, that we authentically love, and we've gone to war together, and that's what I believe has been a true core of our success.
I really like what you said, what you about how just because you are in this category, a minority-owned business, a veteran-owned business, you can't feel so entitled that people have to give you their business, but
Right.
actually you want to serve them and give excellence in your best. So that being said, I'd like to know, how did you go about maintaining and growing relationships with primes and with the relationships that you're building? How do you maintain them? How do you grow them and expand them? If you could touch a little bit about that, because it's one thing for me to get business and have a great relationship with Cook County Healthcare, but it's another thing for me to maintain it and to grow it and to expand and even reach out to some of their people that they do business with and know. So if you
Mhm.
could touch bases on that, maintaining and expanding.
Absolutely. And I want to clarify, we're not a veteran-owned business, and maybe
I
you're used.
know.
Okay, okay.
Hmm.
Just want to make sure. Um, but yeah, I think that I know we talk about the hospitals, but we work in a number of different markets, Lynette. And so we have a number of different clients, obviously, and state and local government and the private sector. And I think that in terms of growth and maintaining and knowing these, I mean, sometimes somebody a long, long time ago, this is not my line. I don't want to take credit for it, but it has always been one of my favorites, is the worst time to make a friend is when you need one,
Ah,
right? So I want to encourage people that there were plenty of times, and even still today, that I can pick up the phone and call people that I've done work with that will remember who Rachel Canning is. And I think that I want to encourage people that it's you have to build a relationship and you have to build a rapport, and you have to be patient with the process, especially today. The marketplace today in 2025 is so different. Everyone will absolutely agree with that. And there's challenges today that are different than when they were back when I started in 2000. So I think the criticality, and let's face it, so many of us are working remote. So many of our customers are working remote, Lynette. We don't have the opportunity of knocking on their office door and sitting across the desk from them and looking in their eyes. But fundamentally, I think it's so important that we recognize that we're all people. We all put our pants on one leg at a time, and that if you want to grow with your clients, they have to feel that you have their best interest, right? That you're not just trying to sell them, but you have their best interest at heart, and that you're looking for a long marriage, right? That you don't just want to sign the marital contract, but you want to sustain it and have that relationship for a long period of time. And that's something that, is built over time through integrity and authenticity. I
And I
hope that.
like I like the fact that you use marriage. And speaking of marriage, I would like you to just share with our listening and viewing audience about your relationship with the county, because you have done business, you have been a successful subcontractor with Cook County hospitals for over 20 years. And that
Yeah.
says a lot. And it's not because you're the golden child.
Yeah,
So just tell
sure.
us a little bit about your experience with the county for those viewing audience that have not ever had a subcontract but want us to be do business with the county. Let us know a little bit about your experience.
Absolutely. I wish I could say it's all because of Rachel Canning, but it's not. It's nothing has to do with me. It has to, I mean, Angela O'Bannon, who is the CIO of the health and hospital system, she is, I tell you, I have so much respect for her. I have an authentic relationship with her. I love her journey. I love Brian Pravel. I've had the opportunity of building a relationship with him. He's the CTO there. Bernie Price, who used to be one of our employees, and he's got 15 RL Canning people that are currently reporting up to him through him today. The one thing I will take credit for is that our internal team, and this has taken time. Everyone has to understand it takes time. It's like having a little baby, right? When your baby's born, your baby's not walking right away, right? And so it takes time to build relationships with these folks. And I think I take a lot of pride in our recruiting team having the ability to identify incredible people. Again, I mentioned folks like Bob Aiken, who's part of this initiative, who was part of Chicago Public Schools, who internally within our entire team, we're very authentic and we have really authentic conversations, right? And from a county perspective, I would say Angela would be like, and Bernie would be like, and Brian Preble would be like, those are all on the client side. I would feel fairly confident to say that they would say, R.L. Canning provides great people. And when things get a little dicey, because everything gets dicey in life, right? We're quick to make a change and address it. But people like Mary Meadows, I want to give these guys shouts because we mentioned that, we'd have the honor to talk to you, and I want to make sure that they recognize, Sudi, Eddie Bells, and Don Daly, that these are the folks that are making it happen day in and day out, Lynette.
And I love that. I love that. It's the teamwork, which I would like to ask, how do you build capacity within your team and for long-term growth within your company? So you're giving a lot of appreciation to the team, because it really, when they say teamwork make the dream work, that's the truth. Because no man is an island by themselves, and it's actually your team that help the vision that you're casting helps sustain it and maintain it and expand it and things of that nature. So I like to know um, how you have scaled your business while staying true to your mission and values.
Okay, absolutely. And it's like any business, right? So, the Deloittes of the world, the IBMs, the Accenture, all these organizations started off somewhere, right? And then as you're going out there and you're growing your business and you want to, identifying talent, that's a big one. And, we developed a list of our core values and our mission. Our organization is structured in such a way that you have key leaders that are running our service delivery organization. From a county, Rick Chung. Rick, I know you're out there, buddy. I talked to him earlier. And this guy's in touch with all of his team at the county because he oversees, the day in and the day out in terms of the success of the organization. And he's got his pulse as to things that we need to get better at, and he is also very complimentary to his team on where we have excelled. And this thing that I call raving fans, right? So as technology changes, we're a totally different company today in 2025 than when we first started. Every company is shifting, and if you don't shift and adapt according to what's taking place in the marketplace, you die, right? So that's from a scaling and growth perspective. It's really taking the time to slowly, and this is not an overnight success, Lynette. I think a lot of businesses need to recognize it. It doesn't happen overnight, and it isn't easy. It's absolutely worth it. It's fun. We have great stories as an organization. But I think from a scaling perspective, it's about the people. It's sitting down. It's being committed to having conversation about where the industry is going, and making sure that we are delivering those outcomes to our client and listening to what the needs of the clients are.
And I like what you said, because even when you were talking about your employees and when you were talking about the innovation, because you have to be innovative in the market that you're in, IT, because it's constantly evolving and changing, and you have to change with the times. But I noticed that you put importance on your approach to hiring and customer service. And not only that, you support not only the growth of your company, but you invest in people. Sound like it, and that's really great. And that's how you really can grow from the inside. Because if you're not growing inside, it's hard to expand outside. So I like that. So, what tips or advice would you give to a business or a company as it pertains to attracting either prime or government contracts? What advice would you give them?
So the advice I would give is, again, making sure that you have identified the client or your target. Let's say theoretically somebody is trying to target the county. Making sure that you know who are all the decision makers within that client site, right? There's all these decision makers. Then there's also that other tier of people that are influencers. And I would like to say that within any organization, it's not one person that makes a decision. Typically, it is a collaborative sort of decision. Definitely at R.L. Canning, when we are going to hire someone, it's never just Greg or me saying, yep, this is who we're going to bring. We have a SWAT team of people, and I think that's why we have excelled so much, is that are all part of the decision-making process and bringing on talent. But if somebody as a new vendor is trying to go out there and grow and meet with IBM or meet with Accenture or meet with all these Deloitte, with all these various prime contractors that are engaged in state and local government practice, that they know who these people are. Do your homework. There's nothing worse than not doing your homework. And in this day and age, for somebody not to know something about another person, quite frankly, that's someone that is not doing their due diligence. Because you can find out everything about everybody, good, bad, and ugly, right? So I would suggest, find somebody that you've done your due diligence and you can find a common ground with that person. And it doesn't have to be about business, Lynette. People like to do business with people that they like. And you know what I mean? The conversations that you're having with somebody. Find that nugget in which you have a common ground. And don't, a lot of people don't, and ask questions, right? Ask thought-provoking questions to people that you want to do business with. Because then that shows them that, I'm working with somebody that's done their homework. They care. They're not like, hey, what do you got going? Do you have anything for me? And believe it or not, I have witnessed some of those conversations that I've sat back and thought, I would have done that differently. I hope that makes sense.
Yeah, and I really like what you said, because when we, as contractors, subcontractors, as business owners, going to a lot of outreach events can be very productive for them, because at that time you have access to future business. And I love what you said about people like doing business with people they can relate to, because when it boils down to it, it's going to end up being about relationship and how well you can provide the service at affordable price that they need and things of that nature. But because we all have products, we all have services, but what makes me have a cutting edge is the fact that you can relate to me and you can remember me. So
Yep.
that's great. So I want to ask you, if you could speak to your earlier self in the journey, what do you wish you could know when you first started out, like some of our viewing audience? What piece of advice would you give to your younger self starting out?
Gosh, we don't have enough time, but
No.
I'm still, even in my older self, yeah, gosh, I tell you, I think that patience, right? And I know that there's some folks on this call that know me pretty well. And I tell you, my earlier days, I was not patient. Or I did this whole comparison thing. Oh, God, don't we all do that? We compare yourself to other business. I'm like, oh, how did they get that? Or I think it's just having patience. It's really making sure that, and then being a self learner. You have to really be patient with the process. You really need to learn. You really need to do your research. But my younger self was that way. I'm kind of a gritty, crazy person. Those that know me, I tend to kind of be a bit extra once you kind of get to know me. But, it's just enjoying the journey, knowing that you're giving your best. And sometimes things are not going to go your way. And I'm telling you, there's been plenty of times in this journey that the answer was no. And you get really ticked off. But then you're like, okay, it wasn't meant to be. Let's move on. And I want everyone to know that is starting anything. And I use these analogies because sometimes it resonates a little bit more, like to be a good parent, to be a good sister, to be a good, spouse, to be healthy, in your skin. Everything takes effort and it doesn't happen overnight. So again, I would just tell that younger Rachel, like, you just need to just calm down. And in 2025, you're going to be amazed at all the incredible people that have impacted your life. Yeah, no, I'm humbled to be here, today, quite honestly, Lynette.
I like the fact that you said number one, patience, but I really like how you talked about you'll get a lot of no's, but we cannot self-reject and think of it as a rejection. It's actually a lesson, and it gives us opportunity to better our craft, to see what we can do for that yes. And sometimes even if we can't do anything for that yes, it may not been the door we were supposed to walk through, or it may not been the time.
Mhm.
So
Absolutely.
just because there's a no don't mean that I'm a failure or there will never be a yes, but I have to continue to be patient with myself while perfecting my craft or becoming more of an expert.
Hmm.
Learning, we can learn as we journey. So
Yep.
that is great. So what is on the horizon for R.L. Canning?
Oh, you're so sweet. I tell you, I am so proud of our team. We have grown our sales organization. If they're out there listening, I have such an incredible team. Anna, oh my gosh, it's Christian Soria has been with us for 16 years, and these guys are hungry like the wolf. And that's the whole thing. And we have a service delivery gentleman that's been part of our organization that he is so passionate about technology. And that's the whole thing that I want to tell young businesses. People like, oh my God, you're a technology person. I'm like, I am not, but I focus on what I do best. And my strength is really engaging with potential clients and growing the organization. And now as an organization, we are completely reinventing ourselves. Artificial intelligence, we all know AI is here. AI is here to stay, and it has incredible impact on all of our businesses. And as an organization, too, from a ServiceNow perspective, there's a number of different platforms that we're working with and integrating at our client sites. So from a horizon perspective, that's exactly what we're focusing on. We're focusing on what is new, what kind of value it brings to our clients, how we can help our clients become more efficient with the utilization of technology. And it's scary for everybody. I think at the end of the day, many people, like education, school environments, everything is changing. I think that no one would argue that. And so you have to be on that train, and you need to be able to bring value to your clients.
Well,
So that's what.
I'm sorry, but I like that when you said bring value to your clients, because at the end of the day, to be successful, we have to offer good services, be our authentic self,
Yeah.
be transparent, and be the best we can be at whatever we do. So we do have time for questions, but before we even go to the questions, Rachel, you have had a great journey. I know that you're at the beginning of a new journey. And that's wonderful because you've been out here for 25 years. And like you said, AI is definitely making an impact on technology. So the way that you've done business, is going to be a little different, the service that you provide. And we have to continue to evolve. And so I really like that. And it really speaks to the fact, no matter what kind of service you're offering, you can't stay stagnant. You have to grow. grow,
Yes.
become innovative, and get staff around you. I like how you emphasize that it's not just about you, but it's about the staff that you bring in and their contribution, and knowing and being inspired by them, as well as the people that you're servicing, the different government entities or private firms. But I want to thank you, number one, for sharing your journey. And before we bring it to an end, I would like to bring on our program manager, Sabrina. And I want to thank our audience. Thank you, you all. I hear a lot of dinging and everything. Thank you for spending your lunchtime with us. We really appreciate it. And this is your opportunity. If you have any questions for Rachel, she's here to answer your questions. And so with nothing further to do, I'd like to bring our program manager on, Sabrina, and she could take it away from here.
All right. Well, thank you, Lynette. And I want to give a big thank you to Rachel again. This has been great. I hope the audience has really found benefit in your impactful conversation about your Cook County certification journey and just all of the things that you've done to be a successful business owner. So again, we cannot say thank you enough, and we would love for you to be back again at some time. Now I'm gonna put up a few informational slides just to let you know what other events we have going on in Cook County and then within our business community with our business partners. And also, we would love if the audience would do a feedback survey for us before you end the call. But I'm also going to, while I'm doing that, I'm going to be checking to see if we have any questions in the chat.
We did so good, Lynette. No one has any questions.
I'm actually reading. They're long. Okay.
Oh,
All right. So the first question, how did you land your first contract, Rachel?
my very first contract was with, oh God, now you guys are really making me think back here. I don't know how many folks have been part of this system, but I think it was with Chicago Public Schools, or it could have been with Unisys at the time. So at the time, I was working with Chicago Public Schools, and at the time it was Elaine Williams was the CIO. This was many, many moons ago. And I was building a relationship with a number of the prime contracts there. This is when they were doing the student information. And I tell you, this was back in the day when you could go up and and this is where it's a little trickier today. You could go up in the area there and shake hands and make introductions. And so through those relationships there and my relationships with some of the prime contractors, that's how they gave me an opportunity to provide one person. And oh my gosh, I think that was like Bob Aiken, and Bob Aiken is on this call. And yeah, Bob knocked it out of the park, and that's how I was able to continually grow.
Awesome. So I see someone with their hands up. If you can drop your question in the chat, we'll get that out to Rachel.
And I see a question, Rachel. They want to know, how do you stay focused and passionate about building new business relationships?
Listen.
And yeah.
Oh, did you want to add something else?
And how do you achieve significant growth in your personal, professional career?
So staying passionate, if I heard your question correctly, it says, how do I stay passionate in growing my business and being in sales?
How do you stay focused and passionate about building new business relationships?
Okay.
And how do you achieve significant growth in your personal and professional career?
Okay. Well, anybody that is a hunter of business, if somebody doesn't say that it doesn't come with challenges and self-evaluation, and if as you're growing your business and you're in that space, when people say don't take it personally, for me, and this is just me, maybe there's others that are not like that, but I do take it personally. And there is a methodology from a selling and hunting perspective that you have to create resiliency within yourself. So quite honestly, everybody has all their little tricks. And sales is one of those things, and growing business is one of those things that you have low lows. And then there are days where you have these high highs when you win some of these opportunities and you're able to celebrate those. And I think that's where my enthusiasm comes in. And now we have a sales leader, we have a sales team, and they have a big challenge ahead of them. But I'm 150% confident that they have the grit and the strength to do it. And that's what it is, because those wins, you're going for those wins. And I keep thinking about that. I keep thinking about that outcome, and that keeps me coming back for more. But it's not easy. I never wanted to say like, oh my gosh, it's so easy. And anyone that would say that, I think, is being disingenuous. But it's worth it, right? It definitely is worth it.
Okay. I see a question that says, from your perspective, in your business and current position, how do you evaluate whether a small business is a good fit to work with?
Well, we do have some strategic partners that are part of, and again, 25 years later, as a managing partner of R.L. Canning, we like to pursue prime opportunities. And in the private sector side of the house, we love state and local government. Please don't misunderstand me, but you want diversification in the markets that you serve. And if somebody's asking about strategic partnerships, there are instances, because many clients want to be able to work with a vendor partner that has a wide variety of skill sets, right? So that they could have just one vendor as sort of that general contractor to manage all of those. So from a subcontracting perspective, again, we evaluate them like we would evaluate a new hire. We need to know that a strategic partner that is going to potentially work with R.L. Canning, if I heard your question correctly, is going to put forth a quality effort and to make us grow and succeed with our clients.
Okay. And their second part was, how would you, like a small business like ours, what would be your approach to teaming, strategic partnership, or mentor or protege programs with your company?
So in terms of it, that would all depend on our opportunities. So in terms of strategic partnerships, if we have a need to identify a vendor partner, would be in a need that we don't have that in-house. So it would be a case-by-case basis, absolutely. Mentorship, again, it's a case-by-case basis. Those that know me know that I completely am passionate about paying it forward. And that's why I feel honored to be here today. And I've had the opportunity of working with the Chicago public school system. Working with kids is just completely my jam, especially since I'm a woman of color. And I want to be an advocate so that people can see someone that looks like them and see what success looks like. And so again, like for mentorship, strategic partnership, that's all on a case-by-case basis. And that depends on the need that we have as we are identifying opportunities for R.L. Canning.
Now, this is a good question. Number one question. It says, over the years, have you had difficulties receiving the moolah, your payments from Prime and the state of Illinois or any other government contract? And in those situations, what was your course of action to keep your business afloat?
That's a great question. And
I
yes,
thought.
yes, I have. And in terms of full transparency, because when we started our organization, it was through our personal finances. And yes, quite honestly, there was a period of time where we were challenged in meeting payroll because of payment terms. Cash is king, right? And how did I resolve that? I'm going to be honest. I asked family members. I asked people, hey, can I borrow some money? Because we were so new to our business. And we had a line of credit. Of course, you have to have a line of credit with a bank. So that is something that is instrumental. But in our early days, and I don't know the entire audience that's here today, but if you are one day old, right, sometimes a line of credit is not going to come to you so quickly when you're starting your business. So when I had that challenge, I had to go to my family, and they were kind enough to help me. And that's why you don't want to grow too fast. You want to grow and be manageable in that space, because that's what kills a lot of businesses.
And I want to tell you, I really love that perspective that you gave about not growing too fast, because sometimes we had a thought, oh, I want to be a prime, but with that comes more responsibility, and you have to have the capacity and
Yeah,
things of that nature. So I really love that you have to pace yourself, and your pace is your pace. No
exactly.
comparison to the next business or person, because you grow at a steady pace.
Correct.
So that is great. I'm just kind of surfing to look at these questions, but if you have more questions, please put them down. Okay.
So,
Um,
Lynette, there's one question here. Stephen is asking, in the private sector, do you leverage, this is a question for Rachel, in the private sector, do you leverage your certification status?
Today, I don't. I don't. And the only reason being is the certification is fantastic, but in the private sector, I don't. I feel like that we've been in business for, we have a good, solid, we're a solid organization that has put us in the position because of our team, that doesn't need to be brought up initially. I don't know if that makes sense. But, and it's no reason. Sometimes I've been asked that. They're like, hey, by any chance, are you a, MBEWB firm? I'm like, oh my gosh, I am. And I actually, to be honest with you, now you struck a memory that somebody said, why wouldn't you tell me out of the get-go? And I'd like, well, because I want you to do business with me, because I have amazing people. And we provide an amazing service. So,
Okay. Sarah has a question. How do you stay consistent in searching for contracts with all of the avenues for MBEs and WBEs, etc., and portals where they are available? And are you focused on business outside of Cook County?
oh, absolutely. Hi, Sarah. No, I absolutely am. Quite honestly, I even years ago when we first started our organization, this might be bad. I'm just kind of sharing my story, truthfully from my heart. I never really followed all the portals. I don't know if that's a bad thing to say, but I was too busy trying to build relationships with people, and I was too busy trying to ask for referrals from other people that I would meet. Because I know so many. Back in the day, I knew every single solitary person at Chicago Public Schools, at the state of Illinois. I'd go down to Springfield, I'd knock on doors, I'd ask for CIOs. I mean, so I wasn't looking, because what happens is that when you're talking to people, it'll eventually come out. And it's not anything that is disingenuous. They'll say, hey, they will lead me to like, hey, listen, I can't, look at the portal. This is what's happening. This is what we're trying to do. Because you're trying to understand what type of problem they're trying to solve with the utilization of technology. So, Sarah, to answer your question, like I follow people. I didn't follow portals. And the people led me to the portals, if that makes sense. Because I wanted them to know who Rachel Canning was. I wanted them to know that, oh my gosh, this is my team. And there was plenty of times that I would go out and be working with Kristen Castelloni, who's been with our organization, just celebrated her 20 years with us, and we would be walking the hallways of the state of Illinois. We never focused on the portals. We focused on building relationships, understanding how they wanted to utilize technology, and see if we could fill that gap. So that was my main strategy.
All right. We have a question for Davi from Davi. What is the biggest challenge you have in finding new contracts and sales opportunities? What is your sales strategy?
Oh, what is my sales strategy? That is such a, it's like kind of a diet. Like, are you a faster? Are you a, it's interesting. What is my sales strategy? Well, I mean, we definitely have a sales strategy. I'm not suggesting that we don't. Christian Soria, who leads our sales organization, you know, we're constantly utilizing different platforms out there because, right, data is king, and understanding what opportunities present themselves through different platforms like Zoom, different platforms like LinkedIn, people that are talking about sort of the mood and temperature of their companies and what they're trying to do and try to accomplish. So Christian, as the sales leader, utilizes a variety of these different platforms. We're able to be a little bit much more sophisticated today than when it was back in the day when I was a door knocker. I hate to sound so cheesy, but you know, I was like the Avon lady. Oh my God, is everyone so young they probably don't even know who Avon is anymore. But all of which to say that today with data and what's available and the access that we have to these various platforms that can provide you with marketing and buyer behaviors around what people are looking to implement within the organization. So that's definitely a component of our sales strategy, because obviously there has to be a method to your madness in trying to identify opportunities.
Thank you. We're almost at time. We're going to take a few more questions. We have a question from Chris. Does the current economy worry you? What are you doing to prepare if we should go into a recession?
Hi, Chris. Thanks for your question. And yeah, I have a college kid, and I'm like, oh my gosh, the economy for these college kids to get them off the payroll, right? I know I'm being a jokester about that, but yeah, I mean, you know, the buyer behavior is different. It absolutely is very different. And am I concerned? I mean, it's like everything else, right? I mean, I was incredibly concerned when we first started our business and saying, oh my gosh, I've been in business for about an hour. How am I going to grow this? But I got to tell you, again, I got to go back to my team and the passion and the hunger that this team has. And all of us knowing that, yeah, you know, hey, the Kansas Chiefs are the Chiefs because of Mahomes, okay? I know I'm going off of a path here. But everything requires creativity, work, and we got to get better at saying, okay, these things haven't worked, so now we got to reinvent ourselves. So while the economy and the world that we live in today, quite frankly, is pretty, makes me sad, that just means that we just got to work harder and be much more innovative and be much more collaborative as a team. And then you get the results. There's no shortcuts to winning. There just isn't.
All right. Well, Rachel, we have one final question. I want to thank the audience for being so engaged, and thank you, Rachel, for entertaining all of these good questions. I feel like this is the most lively chat we've had in a while, so thank you so much. Last question from Robin. Hi. For your initial startup, did you receive SBA loan funding or did you bootstrap your start?
What's up, Robin? How are you? And I'm glad that you've mentioned that, because I also, from a privately perspective, I am part of Wintrust as a board member. So if any of you small businesses are looking for assistance in that space, feel free to reach out to me on LinkedIn, and I'd be more than happy to. I get nothing for it. I don't benefit from it. I just can connect you to the appropriate people. I did not get an SBA. Prior to that, prior to starting RL Canning, I was, as I mentioned, I had worked for a number of different companies, and I was blessed to be a good saver of money. Being raised by a single mom taught me that I didn't want to worry about, I wanted to be a good saver of money, and we used our personal finances. So no, I didn't get an SBA loan. Not to suggest that an SBA loan is not fantastic. Not to suggest that if you didn't save your pennies, that's okay too. There's definitely other options out there for you. And then as we were able to get some contracts under our belt in the first 5 years or so, we were able to have the ability to get a line of credit that we utilized as well.
Right. Well, we're almost at time. Rachel, do you have any closing final words that you want to leave with our audience today before we end the webinar?
Well, first of all, I would love to thank you, Sabrina and Lynette, for inviting me and being a part of this initiative. And for all of you that are on this call, if you are toying around with being an entrepreneur, if you're, don't let fear hold you back from doing what you want to do. And you need to know that you need to follow your heart. Life is short. And at the end of the day, the belief that you need to have has got to be in you. And yes, you're going to have days, and pardon my expression, that are really going to suck. And you're going to look in the mirror while you're brushing your teeth and thinking, what have I done? What am I doing? If you believe in yourself and you have patience and you know it's not going to happen overnight, I fundamentally believe that you will excel. So I want to wish all of you potential business owners so much success and luck. And if you want to reach out to me in LinkedIn and you want to talk to me, I'd be happy to engage and have a conversation with you. People did that for me when I first started, so I absolutely feel passionate about paying it forward. So I wish all of you tons of success. I want to thank my entire RL Canning team for all their love and their support and loyalty to our organization, and we are who we are today because of all of you. So love you guys.
Thank you for those closing words. And again, thank you everyone for attending today. Hope you all have a good rest of the day and a nice weekend.
Thank you. Bye,
Bye-bye.
everybody. Bye, guys. Bye,
Thank
Lynn.
you. Bye.